very sleepy, so we are here to wake you guys up with skill building, social media 101. And I have some very interesting panelists there, all those women there, right there. Interestingly, social media, all women, super impressed guys. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, I want to quickly introduce the session. So we're here basically for a experiential kind of skill building session with social media. And this was one trend that we as practitioners can't afford to ignore anymore, as internet is mass media today. So we will be taking you through some really basics of how to use the medium, the to-dos and things like that into a little more conceptual framework building and how to actually use it for campaigning. And I will remember to talk a little slowly for my friends who need to follow us a little closely. So welcome. I would like to introduce our lovely ladies on the panel. In no particular order, we have Zarina Patel from Sonke Gender Justice, South Africa. And Zarina leads communications for Sonke and has been a prolific journalist in her past avatar. We next have Ms. Shonali Khan, who I personally like to call King Khan. She leads Breakthrough, and we're a human rights organization using multimedia, technology, pop culture, and community mobilization to build this groundswell. You'll hear more from Shonali very soon. And to your extreme left is a dear friend and colleague, Urvashi Gandhi. Urvashi has finished a decade with Breakthrough and has been at the real bedrock of some of Breakthrough's most fabulous and most action-oriented campaigns. So those are the three ladies. I'm Meghna, just by the way. And I work very closely with Urvashi and Shonali. So Zarina, jump right in. I'm actually going to lead from there. Yeah? Okay, do mic's on.
Or maybe I can use this one.
Use this
and then try and use it. Hi, everybody. Let's see. So who here has a Twitter account? Okay. Who here has ever used Twitter? Who here tweets on a regular basis? How about Facebook? Same question. Who has a Facebook account? Who has a Facebook organizational page?
Wow.
Okay. Who here uses Google+? Instagram? Pinterest? So what is social media? I took this off of Wikipedia. Social media is a social interaction among people in which they create, share, or exchange information, ideas, pictures, videos in virtual communities and networks. And I think what we talk about when we talk about social media is online media and the power of the internet. So some examples of social media. For us at Sonke, we don't forget number one, our website. It's the only social media that we control. When it comes to Facebook, we're constantly looking at building it, but I always know that the Facebook costing model can change at any moment. And what used to be free can suddenly have great costs. So I don't want to rely only on Facebook. I want the people who are on our Facebook account to go to our website. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo, Google+, SoundCloud. A lot of radio stations share radio interviews on SoundCloud. And apps. I don't know if any of your organizations, have any of you created an app? Couple. Sonke's not there yet, but hopefully soon. Free or not free? I got this off of a YouTube video. Social media is not free unless your time is worthless. And we'll come back to that because social media is, on the one hand, it can be very cheap media because without buying ads, without buying television time, you can reach millions just with one post. But do you staff it and do you give it the attention that it deserves, or do you think it's an add-on to your communications person's job? Some organizations only have one communications person, so that person has to do media, with the mainstream media, the website, social media, communication strategies inside of the organization. as soon as you can, you should grow that team. That's what we're doing at Sonki now. We don't yet have an online media editor, but it's the next job that we will hire for. Social Media 101. This is a message to the organizers of this symposium. You can't do social media if you're not online. You know, we talked about wanting to trend Men Engage Delhi. So we're trying to get our colleagues back home in South Africa to tweet, and I have a BlackBerry that tweets, but it's important for us as organizers, you know, that when we're organizing an event, to think about it. You're one voice. In this space, we're 1,200 voices. And amongst our followers, if every organization or person has, let's say, 100 followers, now we're talking about, you know, a few 100,000 people. So the power of a small group is exponential when you're on social media, so you have to maximize those opportunities. I already talked about how social media is not an add-on, meaning it should have its own strategy, its own person. When I started at Sonki a year ago, I was pretty much the only person doing communications and doing all of the different platforms. And it's hard to do it well if you're not spending enough time on it. So we should not think about, you know, just it only takes 5 minutes to do a tweet. We should think about developing strategies, creating the kinds of posts on Twitter and on Facebook that have the potential to go viral. And that comes down to the point down the line, which is that content is king. Just posting, it's like out there in the ether, but does it get people's attention? Does it get retweeted? Have you shared something that's useful or informative? And so the position that we hired last was a Multimedia Associate, because not only on our website, but in the other social media platforms, we recognize the power, and I think the Breakthrough team will talk more about this, of visual and multimedia in the social media platforms. You have videos that get, you know, 1 million views. At the last plenary that I was on, one of the panelists, her TEDx video has 1 million hits. So again, do you make something that's not only good enough to get put up on your channel, but when you put it up, do people watch it? Do they share it? Do they talk about it? Who should manage social media? Right now we have a new person that just started, and while I've said that she can go into our account and retweet things relevant to Men Engage Delhi, she may not tweet for Sonki because she does not yet have the knowledge of the issues. She could innocently use the language in a way that offends, and social media mistakes can be big reputational mistakes. Last year, those of us who are on Twitter, there was a woman on a plane leaving the U.S. She was a PR manager. She got paid to do this work, and she decided to write a flippant tweet like, "Oh, I'm on my way to South Africa. I hope I don't get AIDS." Well, by the time she landed, she was fired. So she lost her career while she was offline, because while she wasn't online to try to clarify what she said, to delete her post, it had been retweeted, calls had been made to the organization, to the company that hired her, for her head on a chopping block, and that's what happened. So don't disregard it, especially if your organizational brand is important to you, if your name is important to you, if your message is important to you. The people who are posting on your social media platforms need to know the content. They need to be able to know what is controversial or not. I, at the beginning, had to ask a lot of questions. Is this okay? Because the language of our work in particular, that also came up in the last session, is very sensitive language, so it's important to do it correctly. Twitter, what is Twitter? Does everybody know what Twitter is? I'm sorry, I didn't have internet, so I couldn't grab the Twitter bird. When you put something on Twitter, it's called a tweet. If you are on Twitter, you're called a tweep. Twitter is a platform where people share information, but here's the one thing. It can only be in 140 characters or less. So when we spoke about the Men Engage Delhi hashtag, you know, there were some ideas for hashtags. What's a hashtag? I'll come to that now. But there were some ideas to make this hashtag longer, but we didn't want that because the more space you take up, if you're going to create a Twitter account, you want your name to be small. Mine is my name, my first name, @Serena. It was in the original slide. You want it to be short because if people want to retweet you or message you, they have to be able to fit your handle, which is your Twitter account name, and their message in 140 characters, which is sometimes about 15 to 20 words. Twitter users, we follow each other. So if I meet you or I see that you're posting interesting things, now I will start following these guys, and hopefully they'll start following me. And then I'll know what they're saying, and they'll know what I'm saying, because whatever we post will show up on each other's feed. Your Twitter feed is where you see everything that you post and everything that the people that you follow post. So Twitter is like a museum. There's so much information out there, but you have to curate it. If you saw every tweet, if you actually open yourself up to the full Twitter stream, you know, there's millions of tweets every minute. So you can't read millions of tweets. So you select who do you follow. And it's actually really hard to build a Twitter following. You have to be a little bit, the people who do it best are controversial, they're dynamic. Oh, time. Oh my God, I'm already out of time and I haven't even done what I was going to do. Eesh. There are some of the words that I was just explaining. Retweeting, sharing or giving credit to somebody else's tweet. The feed, mention. Your mention. So if I want to write to you, I'm going to say, @Breakthrough. Guess what? I'm here at the session. Where are you? And then I just want to say something else, that there was a congressman in New York who thought that he was doing a private direct message, but he was doing a tweet, and he sent a picture of his groin area to somebody. Well, he's not a congressman anymore. Sharing is growing. It's important on Twitter to have conversations, to be interactive. The more you do it, people are replying to you. And when they're replying to you, their followers are seeing you. And their followers have the chance to follow you. I wanted to talk more about partner campaigns, but I'm out of time, and there's a couple more things I want to do. Can I have a few more minutes? I won't do questions. But using the power of partnerships, you know, that we can, I've done Twitter reviews with the Steve Biko Foundation. They ask me questions about my work. I answer. Now, our followers see what Steve Biko Foundation has to say, and theirs see what we have to say. I'm just going to go through this because I wanted to just quickly show you a couple of things. I wanted to talk about our, the web stuff. So when we put stuff on Facebook, we also put it on our website. When we tweet, we send people to our Facebook. So you see me on Twitter, you go read the full article on Facebook, and then hopefully you follow us on Facebook. We want to build all of the platforms, and we want to grab people wherever they are. This is Sonki's website. We don't forget to build our newsletter following so people can go on our website and add up, because like I said at the beginning, that's something that we control. And we have our Twitter feed. I'll take it from you, thanks. Well, we have our Twitter feed on our website. This is Sonki's Facebook page. I just want to quickly speak about the fact that once you have a page, you have an amazing ability to get monitoring and evaluation information. I, as a manager of this page, spent a lot of time in this tab that's called Insights. And the Insights tells me everything, and I can export Excel spreadsheets that can tell me over a week, over a month, over a year, how many people did I reach, how many people liked my page on one particular message, how many people liked it, shared it, interacted with it. So there's a difference between reaching and then having people do an action. And so you can take that information and you can use it in your fundraising and even in making the case in your organization for why you need to put somebody in social media. On the Gift of Fatherhood film, we put it on Vimeo. We gave it only one URL that we promoted because we didn't want to dilute the people that hit the video. We wanted to accumulate viewers. And in 1 week, we got more than 9,000 viewers. None of Sonki's films previously got even 1,000 over a multiple number of months or years. But that happened because we used our partnerships. UNICEF posted the video on their Facebook page. All of our partners put it on Twitter. Unfortunately, the internet here is very slow, so you're not seeing the inside data. But the inside data, along with the inside data of Espresso television show and some of the other people that put our video on their page and then shared that information with us, let us put together a social media report that we reached 700,000 people with the message in our Gift of Fatherhood video within 1 month. So I did want to do more, but I am out of time. Thank you for the extra time. We will have questions and answers later. Sorry that it was so rushed, but I hope that helped give you a little bit of a snapshot. Thank you.
Thank you, Zarina. You can follow them at Sonke Together, that's their Twitter handle, for more updates on Zarina's front. We have next with us Shonali Khan from Breakthrough, your friendly neighborhood Breakthrough. Just to lay context on a little bit of what Zarina was talking about and how we have used some of these tactical approaches at Breakthrough to build our movements. Shonali?
Hi everyone, and as the slide presentation comes up, I'll just sort of lay the context of laying the context for what Meghna and Urvashi are going to present. So just in sense of, we heard about Twitter. There's a lot of skepticism about social media. Does it really have the impact? At the end of the day, we want to change the world. We are all here about that. We really want to make a difference in children's lives, in women's lives, in the lives of LGBTQ community, transgendered community. We're really out there. Does this medium do more than liking, sharing, posting selfies, and I don't know what else? So we keep asking ourselves these difficult questions because at the end of the day, that's what we are here for. Just move to the first slide, please. Yeah. So I'd really like to lay the context here. So at the end of the day, if we really want to change, hi, I need to, I'm sorry, I just needed to see who I'm talking to. So yeah. So at the end of the day, we are all here in changing some deep-rooted norms that really put people in marginalized, look at people in marginalizes people, puts people into boxes, creates stereotypes, and then creates all this discrimination, stigma around us. So we are all about saying, yes, women are second-class citizens. Because of that, they get disrespected, they get violated, children don't have a voice, they don't even have an agency. So we really are building out our norms. We are really pushing for change in behavior. Now, can social do this? Is social equipped to do this? Next question. So these are the challenges for social. And I think Zarina did a great job in sort of articulating what's out there. There's lots out there. So how do we figure our way through this journey? How do we know what we're putting out there actually makes a difference? Some of us are tweeting up from here, and we've already lodged a complaint with Men Engage saying, where is the Wi-Fi? So, we put up 2 tweets already saying, hey, if you really want to get out there and make this room really loud in the universe, we need Wi-Fi. So that's a lot of challenge out there. So we've already put out tweets. But then, is anybody hearing it? will it change anything, right? Next slide, please. So yeah, I mean, how, and we've always had this, will we even change the attitude of how people look at social? I'm just beginning with the conversation here in the room. Forget about all the attitude that puts, you know, people in boxes about, you know, oh my God, you are queer, you are a woman, you know, all of those pieces. So I think we are talking about attitude change, behavior change. So this has been the journey from where we are positioning ourselves. This is the journey that we want to use social to promote. It's not about using social for social's sake. It's so fancy. Everybody's on Twitter. Everybody has a Facebook page. I need one too. That's not the point. The point is, what is this going to do to further our cause? Is it going to do something to further our cause? I think there's a lot of, I mean, Zarina made a few examples. And from Breakthrough's journey, we began on this about many years ago. And it's really grown because the reality is that today, internet, mobile has grown incrementally. We just can't escape that. Everybody has a phone. In fact, we were just talking the other day on Indian statistics. We may not have bathrooms to go to, but there are more phones. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's our reality. It's a fact. So we have to see how we can use this tool to further our cause. How do we use this tool? And that's very critical. I think the point that I would really like to say is that this tool has changed the game. When we used to talk to people, you know, it was interpersonal, we were few people, by the time we got around, it took a lot of time. This helps you really reach many more people. It is a two-way conversation. If you show a television ad, I love TV, I love creating campaigns on TV, but at the same time, it's limited in engagement. Now, if I put up a Twitter, someone will respond to it, I can have a conversation. So it's a great tool for engagement. Young people are all the time talking to each other. I remember sitting on a plane, there were two girls sitting behind me, all they did for 2.5 hours was take selfies. I mean, I was like totally amazed. But that's the reality. They were taking selfies and they were going to put them up somewhere. So young people are there. So we need to reach them. And this is a fabulous tool to do this. And you're engaging with them. So these are like two big, like why I would want to use social completely. Now, but how I use it and how I'm clever and how I get really that engagement going, that's of course the content and so on and so forth. But I think that's been another reason. Plus, just remember, you've touched base with them once. Now you have an ID, you have an email ID, you have met them, you have an IP address. You can keep being in touch with them. So you don't have to find them all the time physically. They're there for you. Now, this could be from where you build out. You build out towards creating engagement, creating a movement. And that's what we are in this symposium for. At the end of the day, we don't want to be in an echo chamber. Everybody has been saying this again and again. We really want to engage people outside, our friends, our communities, people whom we meet all the time. And it's been lovely being at this symposium. I've met a whole host of new people, but I've met a whole people who think somewhat like me, may not be, I mean, I can't say they only think like me, but somewhat like me. But we really want to engage with people who don't think like us.